Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Tori and today we are working in my December daily album on stories number 21 and 22. Story number 21 is going to be a pretty simple story. It's basically just going to be me doing my long form journaling for the month. So I figured I would just combine both of these into one video since the first one would probably have only been a couple of minutes. For story number 22, I am just documenting some everyday moments. I went through my phone and picked out some of the pictures that I had on there that I really liked that I had not yet used in this album yet. So I wanted to get them added in, and what I'm going to be doing is using this foundation page that I set up, and I'm going to be attaching all three of these pictures that I've chosen with a brad and having them so they kind of twist open. So that one will be a little bit lengthier of a process to get done. But before we get into that one, I did want to show you how I printed out my journaling. So I'm going to scoot story 22 to the side and we will hop over to my computer and I will show you what I did. So I'm going to use the shape tool in a circle. And I just measured the actual circle die cut, which I'm doing this video after I actually did my journaling. So I'm thinking it was 7 inches or 6.5 inches is what I selected originally. But for the demonstration purposes, I'm just going to kind of choose a circle and then size it to my actual paper here. I have an 8.5 by 11 canvas. So this will print out on my actual paper. So this circle, I'm just going to change the inside of my fill to a gray color. That way I can kind of see where that circle will rest on my canvas. And then a little bit later on, we will change it to no fill before we get this printed out. So I'm just going to, like I said, select a light gray color. And then we will move on, and I'm going to be using the polygonal lasso tool, which is the third option down on my little tool map here. And I'm going to draw a straight line right down the middle, and then I'm going to just kind of do some little clicks all the way around the side of this circle. The reason I didn't use the continuous lasso line tool is because I wanted to maintain an equal distance all the way around. And I personally find it easier to do that with the polygonal lasso tool. So once I've got this all selected, I'm going to just click my move tool and that will kind of highlight a box around my half circle. And then I'm going to go over to where my layers are and select the Paths tab. And then once I've got that Paths tab open, I will then click on Make Work Path from Selection. And now you'll kind of see where my selection is just a big blue line with a bunch of dots in it. If you take your text tool and then just click into that blue line, it's going to keep all of your text inside that shape. And I've tried this with various shapes and it works with at least all of the ones that I've tried it. So I'm just pasting the same thing over and over again to show you how the text tool will now conform to the shape selection that I have made. But you have to make sure to make the selection a work path in order for that to work. Then I will go back to my circle. I'm going to turn off my fill layer, and then I'm also going to change my stroke of that circle to a light gray color. That way I also have a bit of kind of guidance of where I want to cut whenever I've got this printed out. So I had originally, when I did this the first time, I made my half circle a little bit smaller because I only wanted my text to show up on the white portion of this particular page. So if you weren't wanting to fit it in any specific area, you could very easily just leave it as it was and just print out without any guidelines. And then you could put the paper on top of the half circle and just trim around that way. But since I wanted this to fit specifically inside here, I did kind of make this a little bit smaller. That way it would fit. So I'm trimming the right-hand side just a little bit because I don't want anything. I measured it so it would fit perfectly, essentially. So I'm just making sure that it is still going to fit perfectly. And you can kind of see here my little gray outline that I had put on here for my cut line, and I'm just going to trim around that. And that's pretty much it. So basically in this journaling, I'm just kind of talking about some of the happenings that have taken place this December. And I also talked about how last December I did a long form journaling page. And when I went back and reviewed my album, because I did look at it before I started my project this year, I really, really enjoyed that page. So I wanted to make it a point to do that again. And since this half circle shape is kind of an odd shape, I thought it would be really perfect to make this my journaling page. I'm using a number here that I stamped and cut out with my Close to My Heart Moxie alphabet. I'm going to staple that down to my vellum that I printed on, and then I will just add a little bit of adhesive directly behind the number, but nowhere else on my vellum. That's going to kind of keep these two pages together, but not so much that there isn't still some movement between the two pages. And then once I get the holes punched in here and get it in my album, everything should stay pretty snug together, but there would still be the option for it to kind of move around a little bit. One of the pieces of vellum that I have here, I'm actually going to cut a 1/2 inch circle out just for my next project. Since I had this vellum out already, I figured I would go ahead and pull that to the side. What I'm going to do, because I printed my photos out for story number 22 on this premium presentation matte photo paper, and when I add brads on top of this photo paper, whenever I move my item, it kind of creates a little bit of a line. So I figured I would just cut this little circle out of my vellum, and I would place that underneath my brad to kind of just protect my photo a little bit, so I wouldn't run into the issue of creating a line whenever I'm turning my photos to see what's underneath them. So that's what I'm doing here now. I'm going to just kind of overlap it and then cut off of the edges so that it's just a little tiny arched circle in the corner of my photo, and I'll trim off any excess of that circle. So we're done with story number 21, and we are officially working on story number 22 now, obviously. But I didn't actually say that when we started working on it, so I wanted to make that known. So now I've got my brad in here. So these 3 photos will do kind of a flip up situation. And I will pull out those stickers that I showed at the beginning, and I'm going to add a number to each of my photos. And the reason I'm doing that is because I am in my journaling, I'm going to number my journaling so I can write a sentence, maybe 2 sentences max, about what was happening when we took each of these photos. I will also add a little tab to each photo as well. So I'm using, like I said, these white stickers, and I'm just going to put a 1 on the first photo, a 2 on the second photo, and a 3 on the third photo. One thing that I didn't actually notice until I was editing this video is the stamp set that I had pulled out. It was from the Allie Edwards Day in the Life kit from several years ago, so it's not available any longer. I don't think. I will double check, but I don't think it's available any longer. But the numbers on this sticker sheet and the numbers on that stamp set actually match almost perfectly, so that worked out really well. I'm going to add 3 tabs, and I will pull 1 from each of these colorways that I have. I'll pull a red tab. This one says together, and I pasted that on, or I stapled that onto the photo of me and Luna. Then I will, on my next photo, I'm going to use a tab that says noted. And then the final tab that I will use, which is going to be that black tab, will say home. So this first photo that I'm documenting is just a photo that I had taken of myself and my daughter. I was actually getting ready for a wedding, and she was helping me do my makeup and helping me get all pretty, as she was saying. So we took a selfie together, and it was super cute, and I actually really, really love this photo of us. The second photo that I am documenting is a holiday work event that was happening at my place of work. We do a holiday extravaganza every year, and on this holiday extravaganza, we also did an ugly sweater day. So I wore my ugly sweater to work and took a selfie, so I have that one as well. that I will document and write a couple of sentences about. And then the very last photo is actually a photo of myself reflected in one of the Christmas ornaments on our tree. I've seen a couple of photos like this taken, like just randomly on the internet. And this year, whenever I had my camera out and we were taking pictures of the tree and the kids and whatever, I really wanted to see if I could make that work. And so I tried to take a little selfie photo on that ornament, one of my favorite like glass gold ornaments that's on the tree. It's very basic, but I really love it. So that's going to be the last photo that's in here. And the foundation page that I set up, I kind of added these two corner borders around where my photo was supposed to go. But I added a little bit of depth to the bottom border. So I'm actually going to be tucking my photos behind that poinsettia leaf, or the poinsettia flower, poinsettia. I'm going to be tucking my photos behind that a little bit. So I'm just going to use my third photo to get everything kind of positioned, and then photos 1 and 2 will be the only photos that swing around on this spread. So you can see here, I'm kind of showing an example of how those would open so that you can see each of the photos. Here I'm just kind of considering how I want to get everything stamped down on this journaling area that I created when I made this foundation page. This is actually one of the pages that I made for the Tracy Reed Designs like blog hop. It was for a mix it up post. So for the festive collection and a previous collection, this is the festive collection and the All Is Calm collection, and I kind of mixed them up. So I don't have a process video specifically making this page, but I did make it, I think, quite early in the month in December, maybe even in November, whenever I got this set up. So I'm trying to place equal distance between each of the stamps that I'm stamping on this right side of my page where it flips open. And then, like I said, I'm just going to basically fill 3 lines each. I don't think I go past the size of the number whenever I am getting the journaling added, which I will do off camera. But if you're interested in reading that, I believe the picture that I'm going to share on Instagram has my journaling listed inside of it as well. I'll then get my numbers adhered down to my page. And I think that might be it. I think that's the last thing that I will do before I get everything added back into my album. I would love to know in the comments below if you include any type of long form journaling pages in your December Daily album, if you do work on December Daily. Oh, I lied. I am going to also add a little bit of stamping to this tab that I had on the little flip up here. And I believe the stamps that I add are Magical and All of the Joy. And when I add the All of the Joy stamp, I'm actually going to stamp that multiple times and kind of stamp off my ink onto this tab. So I'll have like 2nd and 3rd generation stamping on that particular one. Then once that's done, I will get this added back into my album. So yes, let me know down in the comments below if you do include any type of long form journaling in your December Daily albums, or do you include just everyday moments, or do you plan out your Decembers and only include like things that you're like events and stuff that you're actually doing throughout the month. I like to include a lot of everyday moments and events, so I like to do a mixture of the two. And then obviously I do like to have some long form journaling, just talking about the things that have happened throughout the month in my album as well. That is all I have for this video today. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!